NASA's ambitious plan to expand commercial resupply in the low orbital region, basically from an international space station to the Earth, has already taken new leaps. Sierra Space's new cargo spaceplane, Dream Chaser, is getting ready for its first mission. Welcome back to the Space Technician once again. Well, let's take a closer look at how much progress has been made over the years. This is the Space Technician signing on. Although the Dream Chaser has been in development for more than 15 years, the concept goes further than that. However, back in 2016, NASA kicked off the current iteration of commercial cargo planes with a contract award to Sierra Nevada. According to the contract, there will be 7 resupply missions where the Dream Chaser will fly to an international space station. The first spaceplane, named Tenacity, arrived at the Neil Armstrong Test Facility in Ohio. Although the finish line for Dream Chaser doesn't seem far away for the first ever resupply mission, the team continues to perform further experiments to add tiles for the heat shield and outfit interior pressurized compartments. On May 18, 2024, Sierra Space's Dream Chaser spaceplane arrived from the company's Neil Armstrong testing facility in Ohio to Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The spaceplane was kept inside a climate-oriented transportation container during travel. After arriving, Dream Chaser is now processed for integration with the companion Shooting Star cargo module, which arrived in the facility on May 11th. Before arriving at Kennedy Space Center, the cargo spaceplane and its companion module underwent several environmental tests since December, divided into multiple phases. At first, the Sierra engineers conducted several shock tests with the help of the United Launch Alliance. The purpose of this was to check the spacecraft's response when it separated from the stacked-up Vulcan rocket in the orbital atmosphere. Moving to the next stage, ground teams stacked up the spacecraft onto the cargo module, then placed the vehicle onto a shaking table as part of the simulation testing. The goal was to see how well the vehicle could withstand the vibrations it would experience during an orbital launch. After that, another shock test was performed using the separation system, which will detach the disposable cargo module from the reusable cargo plane before it re-enters the Earth. The vibration testing was done inside the company's Space Environment Complex. The agency withholds the world's best spacecraft vibration system and has capacity akin to the real-world environment. This experiment is crucial to expose the spaceplane to the atmospheric conditions it'll experience during exit and re-entry into Earth's gravitational domain. The testing was successful, as the cargo ship didn't show any systematic errors. Following this, the duo was moved to NASA's in-space propulsion facility. The Dream Chaser was transferred into a vacuum thermal chamber, where the craft was subjected to low temperatures ranging from -150 degrees to -300 degrees Fahrenheit, or -100 degrees to 185 degrees Celsius. And ambient pressure testing was successfully examined for 5 long weeks. As you guys can see, the temperature and atmosphere will change rapidly from the surface to different distances. This test was done to observe how much it can withhold pressure from the specific surroundings during a spaceplane's flight to and from Earth's atmosphere. As suggested by Sierra Space's CEO, Tom Weiss, the successful completion of an incredibly rigorous environmental testing campaign in close partnership with NASA is a significant milestone and puts Dream Chaser on track for operations later this year. He seemed hopeful that a transition from rigorous research and development to regular orbital operations would occur within this year. However, there are several more testing phases in line to take place. At Kennedy Space Center, the craft will undergo pre-launch testing and final processing within this year's vicinity inside the Space Systems Processing Facility. There, Sierra Space will install custom-fitted ceramic tiles on the spaceplane's fuselage and wings. Then Dream Chaser will go through acoustic testing, electromagnetic interference testing, and compatibility testing. As a final inclusion, payload integration and thermal protection systems will also be completed. As per the plan, the spaceplane will lift off over the Vulcan rocket as a United Launch Alliance system from Space Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Ground crews will load cargo into the Dream Chaser, attached to its Shooting Star cargo module, along with propellants to fuel the spaceplane for maneuvering. When will the tenacity-driven Dream Chaser be ready to fly? There has been an estimated timeline given by insider officials for this to happen later in the year. However, According to a spokesperson from Sierra, although the company anticipated environmental testing to take around 1 to 3 months, it ended up taking around 5 months. So, if everything goes well, in accordance with the plan, the spaceplane will take off this fall, but there is no assurance whether this will take longer or not. Back to the spaceplane. The spaceplane has a unique design similar to NASA's Space Shuttle's ability to land on a runway, thanks to the wing design of the ship. Dream Chaser measures 30 feet by length and 15 feet by width, or 9 meters long and 4.5 meters wide. Its 15-foot shooting star module has the capacity to carry up to 7,000 pounds of cargo, or more than 3,000 kilograms. The Dream Chaser spacecraft itself is reusable, but it can only return up to 3,500 pounds, or 1,500 kilograms, of cargo back to Earth, while the shooting star module will burn up during the re-entry to Earth's atmosphere, allowing the disposal of 8,500 pounds, or 3,850 kilograms, of trash in each mission. The Dream Chaser is expected to fly on the second launch of ULA's Vulcan rocket, although ULA officials aim to launch the second rocket in April. Neither Vulcan nor Dream Chaser were ready for the flight. Dream Chaser had multiple tests running, while ULA waited for Vulcan's second B-4 main engine's arrival from Blue Origin. NASA and Sierra will put the spaceplane through several orbital tests once it launches as part of federal certification for future resupply missions. After Tenacity reaches the International Space Station, there will be several tests to demonstrate the vehicle's attitude, translational, and boarding control capabilities. Once the maneuverability demonstration is completed, the spacecraft will be grappled by a Canadarm2 robotic arm to move it back to the Earth-facing port for return by ISS space astronauts. After the spaceplane reaches the station, it'll stay around 45 days in the laboratory. Then the craft will be released for Earth landing exactly at Kennedy's launch and landing facility. When a successful landing happens, the Dream Chaser will slowly be powered down and transferred back to the processing facility. The team will offload the remaining cargo load to perform necessary inspections to prepare the spacecraft for the second mission. Even before Sierra Space can launch off for departure, they have to obtain a re-entry license from the Federal Aviation Administration. In April, FAA made a change in policy where commercial spacecraft can't return to Earth before obtaining regulatory approval, after it took more than 7 months for Varda satellite to re-enter Earth as FAA completed reviews of safety protocols. ULA has already confirmed the installation of both BE-4 engines on the Vulcan booster for the second flight, and the conceivable hardware for the booster setup will be ready by September. Will Dream Chaser be ready for launch by then? Although ULA's CEO, Tony Bruno, expressed his concerns about whether or not Dream Chaser will be ready for flight by then, they don't seem to want to wait longer. Instead, it looks like they will settle for another commercial satellite. Now it's only a matter of time to see how everything turns out eventually. We are here to bring you the latest space news every day, so stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep track of the upcoming space updates. This is the Space Technician signing off for now, and I'll see you space cowboys in the next one.